Hello, sausage. And the trail of destruction. I've given up on cleaning. It is so warm today. Gorgeous blue skies. Outside 30.8, inside 24.9. Oh, lovely and warm. Just a quick reminder, if you do like this video, please press like. It pleases the algorithm gods. And put a comment if you have anything to say about the video. We love hearing from you. We have finally decided on a name for this little pup. So please stay tuned and we will reveal the name to you in a few minutes. Now, something I've been wanting to talk about for a little while is I suppose you could say, the medical side of Ireland. Since we've been here, we've gone through 3 medical situations, I suppose you could say. The first one was Elijah. He was outside on his little balance bike without a helmet. And he somehow got his feet jammed in the front wheel and did a flip and didn't put his hands out to stop himself, so he went face first into the tar and lost a tooth in the process. And I was home alone with the boys and I didn't know what else to do but phone 999. I didn't have a car to take him to the doctor or to seek emergency help. So I phoned 999 and they answered straight away. They were fantastic. They kept me calm. They just wanted to know what happened. They said they'll send an ambulance straight away, but they'll also send a first response. Look, it wasn't a life or death situation. It did bleed a lot, and I did tell them, I said, he's okay. I'm just worried because he hits his head quite hard. So they sent someone out. They were with us within, I'd say, 15 minutes. They were with us and he was fantastic. He just came in and brought his little bag of goodies and hooked him up to get his blood pressure and had a look at his face, and he was just so calm and reassuring. And it was just wonderful. And then about 10-15 minutes after that, the ambulance arrived and they said, come, off we go. Off we went to Waterford, to the university hospital there. And we waited for a little while there, but we got seen to pretty soon. And all in all, it was a wonderful experience, and I can't fault them in the least in that situation. It was just fantastic. And we didn't see a single bill. We didn't have to pay a cent. So it was wonderful. We had a very positive experience through all of that. Now, our second medical experience is when I fell pregnant. And in Ireland, once you fall pregnant, all medical consultations are free, whether it be with your GP or whether it be at the hospital, all free, which just blew our minds. In South Africa, you pay thousands of rands for your pregnancy scans, and sometimes you have to co-pay on your medical aid. Sometimes your medical aid will cover it, but only so many, and you sometimes can't choose where you want to go to have the baby. Here obviously we're on the public system, so we didn't have a huge choice. It was either Waterford, or we could go to Cork, or there was I can't remember, there was another hospital somewhere we could have gone, but I was very comfortable going to Waterford, and it was such an amazing experience. Even during the pregnancy, there's a few vaccinations that they want you to get, whooping cough being one of them. And I just felt so well looked after and so well monitored, and every consult was just such a pleasure. And I just got to know the nursing staff at the hospital and the doctors here in town, and they were all just so wonderful and supportive, and I just felt I suppose supported throughout the pregnancy. So when it came time for Evelyn to arrive, well, actually she arrived a month early. I was still due to go for my 36-week checkup, where we would have booked the C-section. It wasn't an elective C-section. I was told that I had to have a C-section because I'd had 2 previous ones. With Josh, I had to have a C-section with him in South Africa. So since then, they haven't been so keen for me to have an elective, to have a natural birth. So since Josh, Elijah was a cesarean, I would have loved to have had natural birth, but they weren't keen to let me try. And now with Evelyn, again, another cesarean. So we would have booked that at 36 weeks, but Evelyn decided to arrive 4 weeks early. I got into bed on the 22nd of October, and as I lay down, I thought, oh dear. And I just said to James, I said, oh, something's going on here. And we had the boys with us, and obviously we could have no family nearby, so we didn't really have a plan in place for a premature birth. Anyway, so we gave it a little bit of time, and the water just kept coming. So I phoned the hospital. They said probably best to come in. So we woke the boys up. It was about 11:30 in the evening. Woke the boys up, and we dropped them off with a friend in town. Then off we went to Waterford. James couldn't come in with me, so in Waterford's about a good 45-minute drive from here. So he waited outside in the car park, and basically then the staff just told me to tell him to go home and get some sleep. No sooner had he gotten home did the contractions increase, and we had to phone him to come back, and he just made it back. I was on the operating table and he was there, and little Evelyn was born. It was an emergency C-section, but she wasn't in distress or anything. I think they were just worried that I might rupture or something. So they decided to just quickly get her out, and she was a very healthy weight and quite a big baby for being 4 weeks prem. We were all wondering whether maybe they just had their dates wrong from the beginning, because she wasn't too tiny. Anyway, that was an interesting story on its own. But the whole hospital stay, the staff, the whole pregnancy, and then afterwards, you're still looked after within the medical system. You're still looked after there's a 2-week visit, and then there's a 6-week visit, and then you're going to have a public health nurse coming into the house within the first week home. In the first couple days, she was here at the house, making sure that Evelyn was all right, making sure I was all right. And it was just the most incredible experience, and easy getting birth certificates. There was nothing complicated about it in the least. it's just such an uncomplicated procedure. And then applying for her passport, also easy, online, done, nothing complicated about it. So those two medical situations we had, amazing. I just sing the praises of the medical community here. I'm speaking from my experience. I know that it is hard. Sorry, I've got the door open and the road is really noisy today. I'm sorry about the background noise, but we just need the airflow. It's so warm. I know that it can be hard being in the public system, waiting for appointments. We're still waiting for Elijah to get his teeth seen to, and this is now 4 months down the line. Luckily, we haven't had any further incidences with that. So on that side of things, not so positive with his teeth, but with him losing a tooth, falling, getting sent to the hospital in that accident, amazing. With the pregnancy, amazing. And now with Josh is number 3. Incident number 3 I'll tell you about now. So I was busy making lunch in the kitchen and Elijah was in the lounge, Josh was upstairs, and I call the boys lunchtime. And I hear this thump, thump, thump coming down the stairs. Josh comes running into the kitchen, holding his hand. There is just blood pouring out of his hand. My first instinct is he is pranking me. This isn't real. It's just tomato sauce. But the look on his face and how gray he was told me very quickly that it was not a prank. He was upstairs messing around a little bit, as boys do. He got a Swiss Army knife for his birthday, and he's been super responsible with it and super careful. And for whatever reason, he decided he wanted to try and cut something with it, and he flicked the knife and it sliced through his pointer finger down to the bone. So he's going a very scary shade of gray. I grab his finger, I just put it under the running tap just to wash away the blood so I can see what is going on. And the skin is, sorry for TMI again, and I'm busy flapping the phone around. The skin is waving at me and I can see inside, I can see the bone. So I grab a clean dishcloth, grab his hand, hold it up high, try and stop the blood, and he's telling me his ears are ringing and he can't, he's like, he can't think and he can't see. And so I just put him on the floor and we put a sugary sweet in his mouth. I know you shouldn't always give something to eat, but I just felt like that's what he needed at that time. And on the phone, because now the doctor's offices are closed, do I phone an ambulance? I don't know, we had a vehicle, I didn't think it was necessary, so I phoned CareDoc. Now CareDoc is like an after hours doctor that you can phone. It's nationwide, and you phone, you tell them the situation, and they put you in contact with your local doctor on call, I guess you could say. So I phoned CareDoc, they put me straight through to a nurse, and she asks me a whole lot of questions, and they say come straight in to the local hospital and the doctor will see him. Anyway, so James took him through. I had Elijah and Evelyn was about to go down for a nap, so we didn't want to throw everything out. So James took him down to the hospital, our little local community hospital, and he got seen to. It was a little bit annoying because they didn't do anything. We still had to pay 70 euros. They didn't do anything. They just wrapped it up and sent Joshua and James off to the hospital. But with a referral letter. So if you're going to go to the hospital, you need to have a referral letter. Otherwise, you have to pay a almost like a booking in fee, which is like, I think it's about 160 or 170 euros. So anyway, so they came back, I gave them lunch, and then they went off, and it probably took 2 to 3 hours getting there and coming back, which was amazing. That was incredible. I actually thought they were going to be there a lot longer than that. They just needed to be seen. Josh had an x-ray taken of his finger to make sure that the bone wasn't damaged, and the cut needed to be cleaned out and stitched up. He came away with 3 stitches, and yeah, stitches are coming out on Saturday, which is the day you'll be watching this. So we'll see. We'll see how it looks. It's looking much better now. So that was our number 3 experience with the medical system, and that one was a pretty positive one too, although we were a little bit annoyed having to pay the 70 euros to CareDoc. It was okay, like we just swallow it, just, you know, it's just part of the system, it's part of what you have to do to get medical assistance. If your child is under 6, they are free. So if it had happened to Evelyn, we wouldn't have had to pay anything. But Elijah is now 6 turning 7, so he is no longer free, although I thought they'd amended the age. Apparently not, because I had him at the doctor this week and I had to pay. So unfortunately it doesn't seem to have come through yet, but overall we are so happy with the medical system here in Ireland. In South Africa, about a quarter to a third of our salary went on medical aid just so we could be in the private sector, because going public, when I say going public, I mean going to the public government hospitals in South Africa, it's really a gamble. Like, I don't want to be negative about it, but you would much rather want to be going private than going public in South Africa. It's just, some hospitals are scary and you might not be seen to, or you might be waiting for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours without a bed. Yeah, there's some horror stories. So without going into too much detail, in South Africa it really wasn't an option to go public. You could, but for us as a family with kids, it wasn't an option. So that's my story for this week. I just wanted to tell you about our experience with Ireland's medical system, and it's our experience. I'm not speaking for anybody else but ourselves. It's our opinion, and yeah, that's our story. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate each one of you, and join us again next week for more adventures with the Harrisons as impromptu immigrants. This puppy's a real scallywag. It just ran into the laundry and grabbed a sock. Keeping us on our toes. What do you think? Is it fun having a puppy?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's the best part about having a puppy?
It licks you.
It licks you. All the kisses.
You know, he likes to duck me.
You might hear that the dog has a name. What's the dog's name?
Blue.
We've decided to call this dog Blue. Well, the kids have anyway. Mostly,
The blue color.
it basically stuck from when we picked him up, when he had the blue collar, and that was how they could distinguish him, was the color blue. So Elijah started calling him Blue, and Josh liked the name and it kind of stuck. So thank you so much for all your suggestions. We just loved reading through all the names, and we are discussing getting another dog just to keep this one company, and so he won't get lonely, although he has us. But you know, it's nice to have a friend. Oh my word, I am not going to the hospital again today. So thank you so much for your suggestions. We're going to keep them because we'll possibly be getting another dog. What?
Yeah, he's having a poo.
Elijah doesn't do well with excrement. Anyway, so in about 2 months' time, there are some puppies being, or actually there's a litter of puppies being born next month, and we are hoping to get one of them in when they're ready to leave their mum. So well, you know what, at least he food outside. So we'll keep those names, and thank you so much for the suggestions. I loved them. Deirdre, we loved the name Titan. Absolutely gorgeous. We will definitely keep that one on the books. Jacqueline, we love the name Finn. Such a gorgeous name. We'll definitely keep that one as well. And John, I believe you, oh my gosh, this dog. Oh, this you suggest the name Dacia. Now Dacia is very Waterford bound. It's, I believe it came from the people who settled in this region. The Irish people that settled in this region were apparently called the Dacia. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that is a gorgeous name for a dog. And I'm so sorry we haven't taken those names because Elijah was settled on Blue just for the blue collar. Look at this dog. Who are you screaming at? Yourself? Or the puppy? Hello puppy. Hello puppy puppy. Hello darling. So thank you so much for all the suggestions. We absolutely loved them. My dad suggested Paddy, which is a very typical Irish name. But we are going with the name Blue. And oh my gosh, I'm just worried that we've named him wrong because seriously he's trouble. Trouble follows him everywhere. Yep.